So Malay is actually one of the hardest languages in the world to learn. That's what an expat friend of mine told me, and he, just like me, knew how to speak Malay. And intuitively, I know that Malay is a lot harder to speak than a lot of other languages, including one or two that I've tried to learn. But I asked him, you and I both know that Malay is a pretty simple language structurally, grammatically, so how can you say that's so hard to learn? He said, easy, here's the formula. I've lived in a number of different countries and I've learned a number of different languages. He had lived in the Arab world. He had lived in a couple of different Asian countries, learned hard languages there. And he said, here's my formula for how hard a language is to learn. Amount of expats who've wanted to become fluent versus the amount of expats that actually did become fluent. And he told me, he said, Malaysia is actually the lowest ratio of any place I've ever seen in the entire world. And it makes sense when you think about it. First and foremost, most expats live in urban centers where English is extremely prevalent. But to be honest, even outside of urban centers, a lot of people speak English, so there's really no such thing as an immersive context in Malaysia. So the second thing is, because of the fact that there's not much immersion, and that means that most expats don't speak the language, there's not a huge need for expats to speak the language, so there haven't been good language schools that have developed. My cat's about to come up here. So because of the fact that there haven't been really good language schools developed, for those expats who really need to and want to learn how to speak Malay, they're stuck with teachers and curriculums that don't really match an adult language learner trying to learn the language fluently. So most local teachers are trained to help students, so local students who are already fluent in the language, become ready for a standardized test or an exam, specifically the SPM exam. So the reason why that's a problem is because it's a reading and writing focused exam that's based off of answering questions about formal Malay language. And what the type of language that my students want to speak is very, very casual. They want to be able to make friends. They want to be able to talk to their neighbors. They want to be able to go deep in relationships with locals and feel really, really comfortable as a part of the fabric of Malaysian society. And formal language is not typically required for that. And formal language differs significantly from informal language. So you need a curriculum and you need a school that can teach you how to learn spoken casual Malay. And a third big reason why Malay is so hard is so because you don't need to speak it and because there's no schools. The few schools that do exist are you have to come to me type schools. So even if you have had a decent language school in your own city, it might be 30, 40, 50 minutes away, one way. And that's just not practical when you've already chosen where you're going to live. You already have a busy schedule. I mean, everybody in Malaysia is busy. So that's why we chose a decentralized model at Learn Local. It's really the language school comes to you. So we hire personalized tutors that can come to where you are, and we train them with a curriculum that is suitable for an adult language learner who wants to learn how to speak and understand casual spoken Malay. So those are really the keys. You need to have a good tutor. You need to have enough hours. It needs to work with your schedule so you can be consistent, and you need to be following the right curriculum. Without any one of those things, you don't have a really good shot at learning this language that is, because of everything other than the language, one of the hardest languages in the world for expats to learn.